Welcome to Nurturing Young Minds. I'm Adam Schiff, and today we are diving into a question that really challenges everything we think about education in this digital age. Are the hours children spend on screens shaping their brains more than the lessons we meticulously plan? It's a big one, right?
During my visits to classrooms, I've seen such a striking contrast. You have students deeply engaged in collaborative digital projects, really working together, problem solving. But then, in the very next room, others sit silently, just completing the same task alone on tablets. That contrast, to me, it raises a crucial point. Screens themselves aren't the enemy, not really. It's the context, the purpose, and especially the interaction around them that profoundly influences cognitive, social, and emotional development. For educators and parents, the challenge really is to move beyond simply measuring time and instead focus on meaningful engagement, guided reflection, and truly observing how children respond emotionally and socially to these digital experiences. The conversation we're about to have asks us to question the best practices in digital learning and consider how we can actually leverage technology to genuinely nurture young minds. Yenti, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Adam. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I couldn't agree more with your framing of this. You hit the nail on the head. What matters isn't necessarily how long children spend online, but how they engage, how they reflect, and how they interact with digital media. In my work, supporting children and families at Lurie Children's Hospital and in schools, I've observed something quite profound. Screens often act as mirrors. They reflect and reveal emotional states, rather than being the sole cause of harm, which is often the default assumption.
That's a powerful way to put it, Yenti. Screens as mirrors. Can you elaborate on that a bit? Because I think many parents and educators instinctively see screens as a potential source of problems, not necessarily a reflection of underlying issues.
Absolutely. Think about it this way. If a child is feeling lonely, they might seek connection through social media. If they're feeling frustrated, a challenging video game might become an outlet. Or if they're struggling with self-esteem, they might look for validation online. The screen isn't causing the loneliness or frustration, it's providing a platform for those emotions to manifest or be addressed, sometimes positively, sometimes less so. But the point is, it gives us a window into their inner world if we choose to look beyond the surface level of screen time bad.
That makes so much sense. So it's not just about limiting access, but understanding the why behind the access. And you mentioned that these platforms can actually enhance things like problem solving and creativity. How do we shift that narrative from purely limiting to leveraging?
Exactly. We need to be intentional. When social media, video games, or online learning platforms are used with purpose and coupled with reflection, they absolutely can enhance problem-solving, creativity, and peer connection. Take collaborative online games, for example. Kids are communicating, strategizing, learning teamwork, skills that are incredibly valuable. Or consider digital art programs that unlock creative expression in ways traditional mediums might not for some children. It's about how we design the experience.
Experts like Dr. Alicia Montgomery, for instance, highlight the undeniable importance of social interaction for brain development. And guess what? Digital spaces can foster incredible social interaction if guided properly. Educational technology specialists also stress that the tools themselves are neutral. They're just instruments. Their impact depends entirely on their purposeful design and the guidance we provide. We can't just hand a child a tablet and expect magic. We need to be there, guiding them through it, reflecting with them.
That's a fantastic point, Yenti. The neutrality of the tool, it's so true. A hammer can build a house or it can cause harm. It's all about how it's used. So, for educators and caregivers listening, what are the actionable steps? How do they move from this understanding to actually implementing it in their daily lives, in their classrooms or homes?
The actionable step is really to observe digital activity closely. Instead of just setting a timer, sit with your child or student. Watch what they're doing, ask questions. What are they learning? How does this make them feel? We need to integrate guided discussions about both the learning and the emotions involved. If they're playing a game, ask them about the strategies they're using, how they're collaborating, or what challenges they're overcoming. If they're on social media, discuss the content, the interactions, and the impact of digital footprints.
And perhaps most importantly, we need to actively create collaborative experiences. Turn screen time into opportunities for growth. This could mean working on a digital presentation together for school, co-creating a story using an app, or even playing a multiplayer educational game with a sibling or friend. It shifts the dynamic from passive consumption to purposeful development. We empower children to thrive in the digital age, not just survive it.
That's a powerful shift, from passive to purposeful. But I can imagine, for many parents and even some teachers, this feels like an extra layer of work. It's easier to just say no screens or 30 minutes only. How do we encourage this deeper engagement when everyone is already so overwhelmed?
It's true, it can feel like more work initially. But think of it as an investment. We're already investing time in their education, in their well-being. This is about making that investment more effective in a world where digital tools are ubiquitous. It's not about adding hours, but about changing the quality of the interactions within those hours. A quick 5-minute conversation during screen time can be more impactful than an hour of unsupervised passive consumption. It's about quality over quantity.
And honestly, when you start seeing the positive outcomes, children articulating their strategies, showing empathy in online interactions, or developing new creative skills, that's when it becomes incredibly rewarding and less of a chore. It's a journey, not an overnight switch. Start small, pick one area to focus on, and build from there.
That's a really good point, the small steps approach. I think about my own kids, and how they interact with certain apps. Sometimes I catch myself just saying, put that down. But then I think, what if I ask them what they're building in Minecraft, or how they solve that puzzle? And suddenly, it's not just screen time, it's a shared moment, a learning opportunity. And honestly, I learn a lot from them too about how these digital worlds work.
Exactly. It fosters connection, which is vital. And when you engage with them, you're not just monitoring, you're co-creating. You're teaching them critical thinking, digital literacy, and even emotional regulation in a practical context. If they encounter something upsetting online, that guided discussion can help them process it, understand context, and develop coping strategies. That's a life skill they absolutely need in this digital world.
So it sounds like we're not just preparing them for a digital future, we're helping them navigate their present with a more critical and reflective lens. It's about building resilience and understanding, not just limiting exposure.
Precisely. We want to empower them. We want to teach them to be active participants, critical thinkers, and empathetic digital citizens, rather than passive consumers who might feel overwhelmed or exploited by technology. By rethinking engagement, we move away from fear-based approaches and towards a hopeful, empowering vision for children in the digital age. It's about harnessing the incredible potential of these tools for genuine growth and development.
Yenti, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation. You've given us so much to think about, from screens as mirrors, to shifting from passive consumption to purposeful engagement. It's clear that the future of nurturing young minds in the digital age isn't about shunning technology, but about embracing it with intention, guidance, and a whole lot of conversation. Thank you for sharing your expertise.
Thank you, Adam. It's been a truly wonderful discussion. I hope it encourages listeners to look at screen time with new eyes.
Absolutely. And to all our listeners, remember, the conversation doesn't stop here. Start observing, start engaging, and start asking those questions. Let's work together to truly nurture young minds in this incredible, complex digital world. Join us next time on Nurturing Young Minds. Goodbye for now.